It's the 7th year of the event, with the Maritime Services having the best record with victories in the last 3 years. There were 56 public servants competing today from such diverse groups as Telecom and the RAF, Customs and the Fire Brigade. Even 4 workers from the Newcastle Council downed tools for a busy day of singles, doubles, triples and fours. Conditions were glorious for bowls today, with the greens running at an even 13 seconds. Organisers say the competition should run into the evening, with a presentation to be held later tonight.
Come on. Oh, lovely shot. Come on, please. One shot, man. Top bar. Yeah, try it again.
The Queensland Development Company, Gordon Pacific Limited, wants to build a $500 million leisure and residential resort on the narrow strip of coastal land between the ocean front at Caves Beach and the Lake Macquarie village of Cairns Wharf. Mr Lithgow said the legal action isn't trying to stop the development, but instead is aimed at getting whatever happens done in accordance with what he describes as proper town planning procedures. Lake Macquarie's town clerk, John Rankin, reiterated the council's view that there was no legal necessity under the Environment and Planning Assessment Act for the environmental study. However, Mr Lithgow maintained it was necessary to test a discrepancy between the council's actions and the directives of the local government minister, David Hay, and the Hunter Development Plan. Mr Lithgow said his group was seeking the opinion of a Sydney Queen's Council. The Mayor, Alderman Welsh, was not available for comment today on the legal moves. He's in Queensland attending a sister city convention.
We receive all the abuse for the
will be interviewing applicants for the new training scheme. The Police Recruit Education Program, known as PREP, will involve study at the Goulburn Police Academy, plus work experience in the field to acclimatise the cadets to real police work. There are 5 phases in the PREP scheme. The second phase is the section which has attracted attention. After 8 weeks at Goulburn, students will be posted to their local police station as a non-participant observer. With this experience, they return to the academy. Sergeant Rod Gray from Police Recruiting is expecting all types of people to apply.
Average member of the public, that's the line. I feel that we're not looking for outstanding. If we do happen to get a number of outstanding persons, obviously that's a plus for the system, but the average member of the public with our education requirements.
Last year, however, 10,000 average Australians applied and only 2,000 were accepted. But once into the academy, 95% of students finished the course.
With what appears to be relative ease.
Gathered at the Hunter Technology Development Centre today were the leading lights in Australia's metallurgy industry. They were there to reveal the latest developments in the trade in honour of the great industrial pioneer Howard Warner. Pyrometallurgy is, in layman's terms, the hot work of the metal industry, encompassing the smelting and refining processes. 95% of the world's metals are made by that process, and there, Professor Warner said, the Hunter is a world leader.
Hunter Valley was a pioneer in pyrometallurgy, and that goes right back to the turn of the century when Sulphide Corporation was established. Then came the steelworks, and those 2 industries, one in the non-ferrous field and the other in the steel field, continue to be leaders.
Newcastle graduate Greg Hill was today granted the prestigious award for excellence in the field of pyrometallurgy. Yet, in spite of the high standard achieved, on Friday the university voted to disband its metallurgy department. According to one disappointed professor, that will be a huge loss to the metal industry. It will mean students can only achieve the necessary skills by taking an engineering degree and then a postgraduate diploma. Meanwhile, at another meeting in Newcastle today, the Greiner government was accused of slowly destroying the Hunters business and industrial trade. Titled Back to the Dark Ages, the meeting featured talks from senior union and civil liberties authorities. It also featured New South Wales Deputy Opposition Leader Dr Andrew Bevshorky, who slammed what he labelled as the government's anti-union laws and attacks on employees in the public sector, all of which Dr Bevshorky predicted could spell disaster for an industrial city like Newcastle.
But this new privatisation and corporatisation that Greiner's going on with, where you are making people pay much more for those public services and the support services, the infrastructure for business, will certainly spell doom and gloom for this area, not just in the public services but also in the service that, or the private enterprise that has been supported by government.
Commissioners on.
Mr Carr accused Premier Greiner of embarking on a garage sale of Hunter assets.
Yes.
Speaking at a businessman's club lunch, he said the Commission of Audit report proposed a savage dismantling of key infrastructure in the region, including closing the Vales Point power station, selling the Ravensworth coal washery, along with the MSB's interest in the Kooragang coal loader, offloading the Newcastle grain terminal, the State Lotteries office, bus services and the Stockton ferry.
And if we see, in addition to that, a scaling down of the government's commitment to public transport throughout the state, again in line with the Commission of Audit report, we won't see those orders being placed with local engineering firms like Caninans or Carrington Slipways that have kept those firms alive and functioning in recent years. You would know how those firms have benefited from orders to provide the rolling stock, ferries, that public transport is needed.
The opposition leader said a good tertiary education was also essential to the health of an industrial region. It's ironic the federal Labor government has introduced university fees because Mr Carr criticised TAFE college fees outlined in the Greiner government's June mini-budget.
I'm told that in the TAFE sector they're talking about student numbers being down in this region by 20% next year. I believe at TAFE in Newcastle they're looking at the abandonment of courses because of reduced teacher numbers next year. Teachers leaving the system and the TAFE not being able to offer courses in computers or in electronics. Now, I believe it is absolutely short-sighted at a time of major industrial restructuring to see a withdrawal of those services in education.
He predicted that unemployment in the Hunter could rise by around 10% as a result of state government cuts in assistance to the region.
The phones at the instant print spot in King Street sat silent this morning. Usually they would handle more than 100 calls. According to owner David Griffin, this is the reason why.
This is a Telecom announcement. The number you have called is not connected. Please check the number before calling again.
That's the message received by anyone dialling instant print or any other 5-digit Newcastle number from yesterday afternoon. Last night, Telecom terminated the old system and replaced the numbers with 6-digit versions, leaving in their place a recording saying the numbers were disconnected.
Well, it probably means about 90% of my clients, first of all, don't know whether I'm in business, they don't know whether their artwork's ready, they don't know whether their job's ready, throws the whole place into a panic.
Telecom spokesman said today they had delayed introducing the new system for several months to give people time to inform clients of the change. According to David Griffin, however, as the old numbers still worked, customers didn't make the transition.
So what's the best thing they can do now?
put a recording on saying, I'm sorry that the number has changed, we have installed a new exchange, could you please refer to the new directory?
Telecom apparently agrees. This afternoon, a spokesman admitted that the wording of the recording was a mistake and it has now been altered to a more acceptable message.
This is the Telecom announcement. The number you are calling has been changed. Please dial 29 and the last 4 digits of the number you are calling, or call directory assistance.
As dairy officer with the Gloucester Department of Agriculture, Ray Johnston services one of the most intensive milk producing areas in the state. However, along with the other staff at Gloucester, he is soon to be transferred and the office closed down. The state government axed $3 million from the agriculture budget several months ago, and in a cost-cutting measure, the Minister Ian Armstrong is closing 4 small department offices: Walker, Rylestone, Lockhart and Gloucester, a move which has angered local farmers.
First of all, it means we lose our immediate contact with the Department of Agriculture. We lose our officer who liaises between farmers. We lose our technical expert for improvements that are coming out through the Department of Agriculture all the time.
The government, of course, says that the area can be serviced by officers from Maitland and Taree. Why isn't that satisfactory?
It's not acceptable because, first of all, the contact is not immediate. We have to make trunk phone calls into those other areas. They've got an hour and a half or more of travelling time to come into the Gloucester area, and that is a lot of wasted time.
To provide leadership training.
A spokesman for Mr Armstrong said the Minister was considering the arguments put forward to keep Gloucester open, but could not say whether there was any chance the decision would be reversed.
She's a very tall cow.
The majestically restored steam engine 5910 was supplied by the Thirlmere Railway Museum for the occasion. The powerful Black Beauty pulled the 3 oldest vintage carriages in service. Providing a contrast in technology was the plant they'd all come to see. Industrial Galvanizers has built the most up-to-date factory for the new painting technique. It's usual for steel to be galvanised to protect against rust, but in very bad conditions, this may not be enough. Painting provides one more protective layer. The new process allows steel to be galvanised and painted within 24 hours, in different colours to blend in with any scheme. The paint is a dry powder which is fused onto the outside of the product under extreme heat, giving a hard, durable coating. At the moment, metres and metres of fencing is being treated, but the same technique could be used on a wide range of goods. The company has moved into this branch of manufacturing because of declining orders from heavy industries.
We saw that our traditional work that came from heavy industry, from the coal mines, over the last 2 or 3 years has been falling away, and we perceive that the future of the area is more into the manufacturing side of things, and this is just an expansion of that philosophy where we're getting involved in adding value to manufactured products.
That's great.
Today, members of the Belmont, Newcastle and Terralba CWA branches had the chance to meet up with their state president during a special lunch. Audrey Hardman has spent the past week touring the Hunter region, checking to ensure CWA groups are serving their communities. She says the Hunter has rated well and the CWA is as popular as ever.
I've been doing a lot of tours throughout the states and I'm visiting all the little branches, and I think probably there was a period where we were getting into a situation where we did have an ageing problem, but at the present moment we're signing up members all over the state.
She says the CWA is much more than an organisation to provide company for lonely women. She says members work hard to support the Royal Flying Doctors, and the CWA has established a fund to support research into a drug being developed at Monash University in Melbourne.
And this, we hope, will be extremely beneficial in treating cancer, multiple sclerosis and arthritis.
It took the dogs less than an hour to cause the carnage, slaughtering prize livestock and setting back a breeding program by at least 3 years. The paddocks are surrounded by 2.5 metre fences, but they're designed to keep animals in rather than dogs out. Deer and goat breeder Beresford Smith says that contrary to popular opinion, the dogs aren't wild, they're domestic pets. He says last night they killed, not for food, but for sport.
They actually grab them by the hind legs, another one will grab them by the flanks and just tear them apart and have games with them. One on either end, one in the centre, and just tear them apart, just for fun.
9 goats died during the attack. Vets believe up to 5 more are too badly hurt to survive. Mr. Smith says he will take action to recover some of the loss, but he says until dog owners change their attitudes, the threat to his flocks remains. Representatives of the Water Board, the National Parks and Wildlife Service and groups associated with the Glenrock State Recreation Area took part in the formal handover of the Water Board's title deed to 33 hectares of valuable bushland. The Minister's dual portfolio put him in a unique position as both giver and receiver.
As the Minister responsible for the Water Board, he's handing the land over. As the Minister responsible for the National Parks and Wildlife Service, he's accepting it. So I don't know which capacity
175 hectares of land is being transferred to the Glenrock Recreation Area in 3 stages. Mr. Moore says the process will be prompt.
I think we'll have a fully functional Glenrock by this time next year at the absolute latest, and this is part of the state government's commitment to the greening of the Lower Hunter.
Mould at Windward Passage 2, weighing more than 8 tonnes, was delicately lowered into position by crane this morning. Made of plywood and fiberglass, the yacht, or should I say bar, has been designed to seat 50 people. Watched by owner Rod Muir, just back from some successful sailing in Hawaii, the Windward Passage Tavern seems destined to become a landmark in the area. To add realism, a 35-metre spare mast from Windward Passage 2 is to be put in place on Wednesday, but only on the stipulation that it can be borrowed for racing if necessary.
Fortunately, no other vehicles became entangled in the accident as the semi-trailer teetered over onto its side and the pipes broke loose, some climbing the grass embankment. Particularly lucky was the driver, whose fiberglass cabin roof was pierced by one of the 300mm pipes. Received only a minor repair. And Muswellbrook police have released the names of 2 17-year-olds who died yesterday when their sedan collided head-on with a heavy vehicle. Authorities are investigating reports that the yellow Falcon and another car had been racing in Bridge Street, Muswellbrook. At a point where 2 lanes merge into one, the vehicles touched. This one speared across the road into the path of an articulated caravan ring. 2 of the 8 people travelling in the prime mover were injured but not seriously. The 2 dead youths were Mark and Philip Walsh, both of Muswellbrook.
At this stage, the Falcons have dropped only 3 players from last season, including Polk, Dempster and Allen. In question are Paul Zaddo and one of the Newcastle stars from this year, Wayne McDaniel. McDaniel's future is expected to be decided on Wednesday when he meets with coach and manager Ken Cole. Players to stay for 89 are Everett, Johnson, Dennis, Hill and Steele. New signings are Bill Jones and teenager James Carr from Grafton. Another 2 youngsters, Grant Kruger from Goulburn and Neil Turner from Gosford, will tour the southern US with the Falcons in November and are expected to sign when they get back. Most exciting of the new players is 206cm centre forward Bill Jones, who has played the last 4 seasons with Adelaide.
What do you think of the new look Falcons team for 1989?
Oh, I like it. Definitely like the way it's looking. I'm involved, having some exciting players that are here already and everything, and I think we can be successful. And then talking to Ken, he has some young guys that are coming in and stuff, and it ensures a future.
Ken Cole says the addition of Jones will help make the Falcons the biggest team in the NBL.
Our weakest areas have been rebounding and defence. We've been a little too small and a little too young, and Bill will bolster both of those areas, and he will also give us some stable on-court leadership, which is another thing that we badly need.
You also say that we'll, with Bill, we'll have the biggest team in the competition?
Well, with Bill and 3 of these young kids coming in that are all big boys, will give us average height of probably bigger than anybody in the league, and the youngest team on the floor too. So, and Michael Johnson's only 24, 25, and he's been in the league 7 years. So, we're a young team.
Prison authorities are quiet today as a matter of policy. However, police investigations into last night's attempted breakout reveal a painstaking plan.
5 prisoners, all serving lengthy prison terms, had escaped from the first floor of the B wing and then gained access to the lower ground floor where they attempted to go outside into the courtyard.
I believe they had an elaborate plan organised.
They had. They've spent a great deal of time. There was 2 doors inside cell number 18 which had been forced open by use of a hacksaw or similar, and then they'd constructed a makeshift ladder.
The men were apparently heading towards this wall, aware that the guard tower was not manned 24 hours. The key to the plan was a 6.5 metre ladder constructed with insulating tape and 8 steel bed frames. Had they not been spotted by a guard on the grounds, the daring attempt might have succeeded.
Had they gained entry to the exterior part of B wing, the ladder would have been quite sufficient to get them over the wall, yes.
The men are serving sentences for various offences ranging from attempted murder and armed hold-up to break, enter and steal. They appeared before a JP in prison this morning to be formally charged with attempting to escape. They've been remanded to appear in Maitland local court on the 26th of this month. I'm Tom Hilston for NBN News.